Hey, my name is Brian, and today we're going to be going over another Tips Tuesday. Tip Tuesdays? Tip Tuesdays. I gotta get used to that one. Today's tip is going to be still regarding filmmaking, photography, hybrid shooting, regarding anything of that nature. It falls under all of it. Do not work for exposure, work for the experience. Point blank, that's it. Do not work for the exposure. Someone tries to sell you, hey, do this job for me for the be great exposure for you. It'll be something that you're gonna get so many clients off of doing this gig. Everyone's gonna see your work. Everyone's gonna see all the great job you can do. Nah. You can skip it. You could just skip it. It's all right. What is exposure really? How do you quantify that? How do you go and say how much exposure will you be getting? You want to put a number to it? Is like, oh, that person has 5,000 people, 5,000 followers, or 5,000 followers and subscribers or whatever. It's like, well, just because you work with them doesn't mean that those 5,000 people are going to see it. I mean, honestly, when was the last time actually all the followers of a certain person sees the video anyways? And then even at that, how many of those people will actually be interested in the stuff that you do? Not saying it's not good to collab. Collab is another whole thing, but to work essentially for free in this essential point of saying like, all right, what I promise you will be, I'll get you exposure. You'll get your name out there. No, I don't think you can. I would prefer you not to. I'll say it that way. You can do what you feel like, but I'm just saying something that I've learned or something that I believe in. What I believe in doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but it's my opinion in this case, in many cases. So I just believe if you're gonna work for someone or work with someone, you can collab with them. You both could go and do a project or do something together in the sense of, let's do an example. Something I do, I don't do often, but sometimes it ends up happening. I have dry spells. There's no client work coming in for photography, and no one is actually there at the moment. In certain cases, I would like to go and do a certain portrait, or I like to do this certain idea that I came up with, and I want to go and get that done. But if I don't have a client that is paying me, I can't go and bounce that idea off and say, hey, we can try this out. If I have these ideas and it requires to have more people or different things going on, if I don't have the people around or they're not available, I want to go and get that project done. I want to get those things done. So what I end up doing, which again, my opinion, I go and say, hey, who's available and who wants to do a photo shoot with such and such idea? And I bounce that idea to try and get that done. So once I get that done, essentially, if you want to say that is working for exposure, but that is doing what I feel like doing and not what the client wants to do. The real perspective, if the client comes up to you and says, hey, do this for me for exposure, if it's not something that you want to do, then why are you doing it for free? If they came to you and say, I need you to do this, that sounds like a gig to me. If I'm going up to a client and say, hey, would you like to go and do a portrait or this idea or that idea? I have this idea, I want to try and do it. There's no guarantee I'll get it done. There's no guarantee that it will be right or wrong. It's like, you're just trying things out. So it's like, what is there to lose? But if a client comes up to you and then say, I want you to do this for me, and hey, there's gonna be this pressure, I want you to make sure it's done right and everything else, and all you're gonna get out of it is the exposure, then I wouldn't say that would be the ideal situation. Do things that you want to do that is at less risk, that you feel like, hey, if you do it well, you do it well. If you don't do it well, if things don't work out, then oh well, then that's it. Those are the moments you go and experiment and try new things. That is the moment where I think everyone should be striving towards, and not falling into the trap of, hey, I can get this done for you and can do this for exposure. It's about the experience, not the exposure. If there's expectations, that means that there's a price to it. If the client expects you to do something, then they expect you to get paid. That's kind of an easy way to go and look at it, from my opinion. This is a point of view that I recently just stumbled upon and say, it makes perfect sense. If I expect you to do something and I put extra pressure on you and said, I would love this to be perfect, I would love this to be, studio grade quality, then I'm like, ooh, studio grade quality sounds expensive. Doesn't it? Studio grade quality. Oh, I expect this to look like a commercial. It's commercial money. I expect this to go and look a certain type of way. Then it's like, okay. Then the client expected me to do that. I expect some type of compensation for all that hard work. And that's essentially a good way to look at it. That's what I end up finding. If the client expects highly of you, you should expect something, monetary value of some sort, back as well. Just don't work for free. If there's expectations, you have expectations as well. Rent doesn't get paid by exposure and likes. Those are my tips for this Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel to support, so that way I know I can continue to do more things like this and you can see more content as well. Comment in the comment section if I missed anything, if I'm off topic, if I'm whatever. Feedback is also great. We can have a discussion and comment if needs be. So my name is Brian. I hope you guys enjoyed this Tips on Tuesdays. I'm working on it. And enjoy your week. See ya.